Story time about when my mom caught me doing it with my best friend.
I was 16 at the time, and there was this new boy that moved in across the street from us. He was super cute, and I noticed him right away. My parents were super strict. I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend or even any guy friends, and I knew right away that I wanted to at least become this guy's friend because he was so cute. So one day I told my mom, hey, why don't we take cookies or something to welcome the new neighbors in town? And my mom was like, that's a great idea. So we end up going over and we meet them. They're really nice. And the cute boy comes downstairs and he tells his mom he's going to go to Bible study. Well, when we get home, I tell my mom, hey, you know what? Maybe I should join a Bible study group too. Part 2. So my neighbor, I'll call him Curtis. We're really good friends at this point, but we were always attracted to each other. But because we were in Bible study together and our parents were very religious, we kind of tried to stay away from anything. One day, we're in my house chilling in my room because I knew my mom wouldn't be home for a while, so I told him to just come upstairs. We ended up eating Pop-Tarts and watching a Netflix show. The whole time I was mustering the courage to tell him that I really liked him because I really felt that I wanted to be honest with him instead of just lying to him, and the whole reason why I even got into the Bible study group was to be with him, or at least spend time with him. So finally, I just blurted it out. I said, I like you, and I like you like a lot. He just stares at me blankly. He doesn't know what to say, and I could tell that he was kind of nervous. So I said, do you like me too? He said, yes, you know that I do. And then we started making out. This was the first time I'd ever been kissed, and it was the first time I'd ever had a boy in my room by myself. I kept thinking my mom could come home at any moment, so I told him that he should go home. Suddenly, we're on my bed, and we're doing things that I'd never done before. Suddenly, my door swings open, and guess who it is? My mom.
So when I was 21 and right after I moved out to California, I got my first job interview and I was very excited, but I was trying to look professional and my nails were hideous, so I needed to get them done desperately day before the interview, okay? So I find this random nail salon by my house and I didn't have like a go-to salon at the time, but I was like, yeah, like let me just go there. I don't need anything crazy. So I go in and talk to the guy at the front. I was like, yeah, I just want some short acrylics with a neutral nail polish, you know, no big deal. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll help you out. So I follow him to the chair and he starts laying the acrylic and the beads, you know, but guess what he didn't do? He did not smooth them out against the nail, y'all. So I'm watching the acrylic dry in chunky lumps, and I'm like, you know what? No, he's gonna fix it. Like he's gonna fix it with a drill or something. You know, you can't just leave it like that. Guess what? He left it like that, and even had acrylic dry underneath. And while I'm staring at this man in anger and disbelief at the end, you know what he says to me? I'm so sorry. I don't actually work here. I'm just helping out today. Yo.
I was 11 years old when my mom kicked me out of the house for the first time. It was a school day! The sun wasn't even out! So you know what I did? I took a shit in the front yard. And I smeared it on her house with a leaf! Fuck! And then I took my happy ass on a school bus with a fucking trash bag of my belongings and went to school. And I told all of my friends, naturally. I thought this was the best revenge. I thought this was a normal thing that happened between daughters and mothers. I got sent to the guidance counselor. And then a few years later, I found out that my stepdad had to power wash my feces.
This is my tattoo horror story. So this was for my 19th birthday, I believe. I really wanted like a tiny little crown tattoo on the back of my neck. I saw it on Pinterest and I was like, I need this tattoo. I need it right now. So I messaged my normal tattoo guy and he was already booked for like the next few days, and like I said, I wanted it right then and there, which was a very big mistake looking back at it. And it was a Sunday, so not many tattoo shops were even open in the first place, except for one. I wish I could just out this place. It is literally the most horrible place run by the most horrible people. But anyway, I go in. He told me that he could do it, but it has to be bigger because he can't do something that small. Which I've seen tattoo artists do tiny little tattoos, so that was the first red flag. But I was being impulsive and stubborn and I really wanted that tattoo right then and there, so I said okay. He put the stencil on me and it looked small, it looked good. After having him tattoo my neck for over an hour and a half, I started to get worried.
This is why it's better to have one friend that you hang out with regularly instead of having a big group of friends. And trust me, you're going to want to listen to this story time. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I was kind of going through an identity crisis, and low-key still am. I went to a predominantly white school for the majority of my life, so let's just say I was extremely whitewashed. It was one of those times in my life where if a white person said the N-word around me, I would just laugh. Not because I didn't know it was wrong, but because I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to be like everybody else, and I seeked validation. Sophomore year was really when I started to become who I am today. I wanted to learn way more about my culture and my background. So I started started becoming friends with people from other schools that are more diverse. Eventually, I met this group of girls. And I thought these girls were going to be the sweetest girls I would ever meet. Now, this friend group was serving flavor. I'm talking diverse to the T. One night, we decided that we were going to spend the night at one of the girls' houses. Let's call this girl Sally. I kept getting lost on the way to Sally's house, and I thought it was because I didn't know the area that well. Keep in mind, that's what I thought was the reason. I get there and we watch like 4 or 5 movies before I end up falling asleep. And when I wake up, I was in a room full of grown-ass men staring at me.
One day, my cousin made a Tinder, and we were having a family barbecue, so he came over. He was like, oh my god, Sam, like this really hot girl just like matched with me. And then he shows me. And then I see the profile and it's literally pictures of Madison beer. But the name on the profile was like Kalani. I was like, bro, I don't know who you think you're fucking texting, but it's not Madison beer. You're texting someone's fucking auntie right now. Whole ass auntie. He's like, guess we're about to find out. I was like, no, what the no? He's like, yeah, I just gave her the Addy. She's about to pull up. Like, we're gonna meet. Like, it's all cool, Sam. Like, trust me. Trust me. Trust me, he said. I trusted him. So I see a car pull up and he's like, oh my god, I think it's her. I was like, oh shit, what if I do meet Madison Beer? The door freaking opens and this old lady pops up. I look at my cousin and I'm like, go hug her, go, you were so excited, it's Kalani.
My fiance's girl best friend has never liked me. We were all hanging out when Madison and Michael came out from a room with Madison crying. Michael looks at me and starts swearing and says I'm a raging bitch. Being hormonal and pregnant, I start crying and asking what's wrong. Proceeds to tell me about the text message I sent Madison. I told her I would not allow her near our child. I only sent this text message after the many racist texts she sent me about my child and I, me being biracial and all. Instead of hearing me out, Michael kicked me out of the house that we shared. On my way out, I felt a lower cramp in my abdomen, and I thought nothing of this because I was not due for another 3 weeks. When I flinched from the pain, Michael told me to stop faking. On my way to my mom's, I felt a gush of water and immediately turned the car around so that I would make it to the hospital. I tried calling Michael numerous times, but my call was quickly declined. I gave birth to our baby all by myself. I decided to do something and post all the hurtful messages Madison sent me on Facebook. Michael calls me and I inform him about my whereabouts and he shows up 42 minutes later. He has tried to apologize multiple times, but I don't think I can forgive him. I went through the pain of pushing out an 8-pound baby all by myself because he chose to listen to his best friend over his fiancé. Should I forgive him?
Story time. Thank you, Tiffany, for sending me the story. So Tiffany and her sister were at the beach facing away from the water and it was getting dark, the tide was coming in, and they heard these crying noises that kind of sounded like they were coming from the ocean, so they called the police, to make sure everything's okay. So the police show up, they check everywhere, and they don't find anything, so they send out boats to go out even further just in case somebody's all the way out there. So this started late at night, but this was a party night, so this went all the way till 6 a.m. and everybody had pretty much left. Tiffany and her sister had stayed a little bit longer, and right then comes a woman running out of the alleyway from the nightclub area. She's visibly upset, completely drenched in water as if she had gone swimming, and so Tiffany kind of finds this weird, so she calls the police again, and right as that happens, the girl runs onto the pier and jumps off. Tiffany and her sister are freaking out, the police boats and everything show up and they send them home. A few days later, the police contact Tiffany and ask to meet up so they can ask questions about that night. So the police told Tiffany that the crying came from the woman that was jumping off the pier. She had done this multiple times that night, swimming far out so that the current and the rough waters could drag her under and kill her. Story is not over by any means yet, part 2 is coming right now. 2 of the lady jumping off of the pier. So she was jumping off, trying to swim out really far so that the rough waters in the current could drag her under and kill her. She just didn't want to live anymore. The police told Tiffany that then 2 hours later she was found on a different pier trying to do the same thing. Thankfully, the police got to her in time and took her away to a hospital where she can get the help that she needs. Tiffany witnessed this and everything, and this all happened 5 years ago. And so recently, right before COVID, Tiffany gets on a bus and she sits down. And she looks up, and sitting right across from her is the same lady. And she's there with 2 little kids and she recognizes Tiffany. And she tells her more about that night and how she was going through a really bad relationship. She was having a really hard time and she just wanted to end it all. But there she sat, now married with 2 beautiful little girls, and she tells Tiffany that if it wasn't for her calling the police, that she would have died, not knowing her future. I love this story. I'm so glad that Tiffany sent it to me, not to be cheesy, but I think that this is a very strong message for people who are going through a really rough time. I promise you it will get better. There is a future waiting for you, and if this isn't proof,
here's a story time about how I found a homeless man asleep on my porch. So my best friend's in town. She's getting married. She planned for us to go to a drag brunch, which was like 5 minutes down the street from my house. So I'm not in a rush. But I overestimated the time that it was going to take me to get ready. So now I'm rushing. Anyways, I'm flying out the door. And then I stop and I'm like, damn, I know I ain't leaving nothing on my porch. So when I walk outside, all I see is this green bag. It started moving. I'm so scared. I slammed the door and called my baby daddy like, what do I do? Well, tell him get up. So I'm like, nobody's going to believe this. I'm going to take a picture. Girl, I open the door. He got a dog too. I'm sitting at the door with a butter knife like, hey, you gotta go. He gets up and he says to me, you know what he says to me? What street is this? Sir, you're gonna find that out when you're walking down the street after you get the fuck up off my porch. Now you and old Yella gotta go. I felt bad because he was homeless, but baby, you about to have me scared to be at my own house.
Was a product of an affair between my mom and dad. My mom was already married and had a 1-year-old daughter. She wanted to abort me, but my dad begged her and paid her a hefty sum. She signed over all rights and I didn't see her for my 14 years of life. She recently contacted my dad saying she wanted to get to know me better, and he said it's entirely up to me. I was skeptical but decided to meet her. I've been talking to my mom's side for about 2 months when at a family gathering they all sat me down and said the reason they contacted me was because my half-sister was having kidney failure and was basically dying. At a loss for words, I got up and left. I told my dad and he said it's entirely up to me, but I should get tested just to see before I make my decision. So I did. When my mom found out, she thought this was me agreeing and told everyone the good news. I did a lot of thinking and I decided I would not be donating my kidney. This family had done nothing for me. The only reason they tried to get in contact was for my kidney. So I don't want anything to do with them. I got loads of hateful calls and messages, but decided to stand by my decision. My stepsister called me and said I'm a douche for giving her false hope. People are saying I'm wrong because I can save a life. My stepsister did nothing wrong. But I feel so used. Am I the asshole for not giving my sister my kidney?